and they might work for you, they might not work for you. But in all cases, I recommend you apply them, take note of them in any case, and think about what that can mean for you. Okay. So we'll go with the five. It shouldn't be too long. But the first lesson I got from my 5 years of trading, and especially swing trading here, because I didn't really did trade that much. But the first lesson is about you cannot be in a place of need when you get into trading. And for some time, I've been in that place of like needing money, needing to make an income from trading, and that usually doesn't really work that well. Okay, and because of the fact that when you came from a place of scarcity, it's really hard to perform well. It's really hard to be top notch and at your best level. Okay, so I don't recommend this. It's a bad idea, and usually it results in you being not at your optimal level, and you don't feeling like you are the performing the best you could and performing and getting the result you want. Okay, so but the cool thing about this is that you can fix it pretty fast, pretty well. If you're in a place where you need money or need to make an income, or you need to kind of quit your job to become a trader, well, learn to manage your money well, right? Learn to manage that money really well, really carefully. We talked about this before in different videos. There's a video called How to Grow Your Small Account on my channel talking about that topic. And then the other part is manage your time really well. Okay, so we all have the same amount of time in a day. Okay, we all have 24 hours. You need to manage this really well. And I was just on a call a few minutes ago with a guy at university who was like complaining about the fact that he only has an hour per day to work on trading, and that's plenty of time, right? Even though it's not a lot, it's plenty. But you could probably learn to manage this time much better. And whatever you make a priority in life is what you spend the most time on. So make trading a priority in your life. Job comes second maybe, and then you work on that, and you will get more time. And soon enough, the need for time or the need for money will kind of disappear, and then you can really focus on becoming a better trader and trading as good as you can, because that's the first thing. But if you're in a place of need, fix this as soon as possible, and things will be much better after that. Okay, so that's the first thing, first lesson. Any question on that, you guys comment below. And I see HW100, welcome, it's awesome, welcome back. Yeah, the other lesson number 2, I found out from myself that that tracking was much more important than the strategy you have. Okay, so you could so let's say you take a trade in the market, right? And that trade could be a winner or loser. Let's say it's a loser, so a losing trade. Which, by the way, loser winners didn't even exist. It's a waste of time. But let's say you take a trade, you lose it, right? Well, that's how you got, nothing else. You lose your trade, then you move to the next one. But what if you took the trade, you lost the trade, but you tracked the trade, right? What if you will be able to use that to become better? And that's what happens when you track stuff, when you track all your trades. And the more you track, the more knowledge you have on what you do, the more you can find out your mistakes, things you don't do well most of the time, and the more you can improve them, okay, and try to fix them in the future. So people that don't track, they usually don't go far. People that track and that take the next step, which is review their stats and review their trades and find the common flaws they have, common mistake they make, common bad trades they have, but also the common good things they have, common good trades they take. They can become much better, and they can usually tweak the strategies really easily. They can know exactly, like in a click, what should I do to make this better? What is the thing that is making my strategy not optimal, and what can I change? And that's exactly what I've seen when I went from taking, let's say, so having a take profit at two of your two risk instead of like now three. I knew what to change. I knew trades would go faster, and same thing happened when I went from kind of moving my stop loss to break even, and now not moving into break even. I knew exactly the first time that most of my trade would be stopped out because of my journal, right? Because of this thing over here, or this other thing, which I check my trades on Trello. Gives kind of a visual way. So I knew this, that trades would be stopped out too often, and that I needed to find a solution to make this to change this. And I went from not moving my stop loss to break even. I went from moving my stop loss to break even to not moving it to break even, and that made a big difference. But I knew in advance. Okay, so it was just a matter of like looking back at the result and changing things. So that is the second lesson, right? You need to learn to track and do it consistently, not when you feel like it, but every time. So you need to have like a trigger. So for me, every time I close a trade, I track, and that's automatic now. Every time I see a trade of me has been closed, a trade I took in the past has been closed, I track and I go back on my journal and put the trades in it. No matter how I feel, no matter what's happening, it's like automatic now. I took this as a habit, and that works all the time. And G4 says always move your stop to break even. Well, depends what you trade, right? For me, that was not better. That was worse. I would have a lower profit, of course, less losing trades, right? But you end up with a lot and a lot of break-even trades, or just small wins, and that makes it harder to kind of go back after a drawdown. So for me, it wasn't best, but could be the best for you. I don't know. That's why all these lessons are based on your experience, on my experience. I mean, and they might differ for what you apply it for. Okay, so keep in mind that that's really important too. Okay. Now the other part. Here's the third lesson. If you guys have a question on this, so what I've seen is that, like, in general, people trade for like a couple of different reasons, but the main one is to have more freedom. They want to experience freedom, okay? But most people flawlessly think that they can just trade and that this will give them more freedom, and this is kind of the end all be all solution to all their problems. Okay, so that if they learn to master trading, they will fix their problem. Okay, but I found out over time that trading is not the solution. It's more part of a bigger picture of your bigger goal. Okay, so what you need to take away from this is that you should figure out, like, today what's your goal, right? So what you want to achieve, and that big goal should basically be backed up by things you apply, right? So that by process goals. And trading is the thing you want to achieve. Trading is part of your goal. It's your process goal, something you want to make work. But then there's going to be other parts. Because you might trade, that then you might get to a point where you find out, oh, well, trading is not what I want. It's not like helping me in my goal. Let's say your goal is to be free, travel the world. But then you end up day trading, and you have to trade every day to make money, right? You find out it's not the best thing. Well, you have to tweak it again. So better to find out what your goal is beforehand, and taking trading and tweaking it for your goal, your bigger picture, and then maybe adding things on the side, adding like a business, adding things you want to do also, and your passions around it, to make sure that you don't get in a place where you're not happy because you trade, but you don't have the life you want. And although you might have a lot of money, having not the life you want is not good. It's not what you want to have. That's a bad problem. Okay? So yeah, you have to be careful with this. Okay? And answer your question, guys. This is awesome. I'll answer your question in a couple of minutes. I just want to get through those 5 lessons. So first, to recap, like, first lesson is like, don't be in a place where you need trading or need money. Then tracking is better than strategy. And then trading is not the solution. It's part of your bigger goal that you should define as soon as possible. And right here, I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me see on my screen what that looks like. Yeah. So right here on my wall, okay, this paper right here, these are my goals. And these are there all the time. And I kind of look at them daily, right? Because I want to remind myself of them. And the more you look at them daily, the more you find ways to kind of make it work and think about stuff with your goals. But that's why they're there. And you need to have this for yourself. If you have no goals, well, you are working and trying to make things better. It's going to get better over time for sure, even if you have no goals. But I think the amount of results you get done won't be as optimal as having goals in place and written down that you follow, okay? And a path that you go through. So that means a bigger vision and goals along the way to get to that vision. And you can break it down even more if you need to, okay? So that's really important. Now, the other part, so the 4th lesson I learned in 5 years of trading, of swing trading mostly, is it's not about what happens at all. Like, we all have losses, drawdowns, painful periods where we cannot trade, we miss trades. It's all a whole mess overall, okay? But keep in mind that what matters most is how fast you find a problem and get back on track, get back up, okay? So I've had a lot of drawdowns, a lot of losing periods, a lot of missed trades, a lot of whatever you want to think about. Couldn't log in my platform, whatever, okay? A lot of problems. But whenever I have a problem now, and this is something I learned over time, I got back, I found out the problem, got back with the solution, and applied a solution. Okay, so recently that was like about missing trades, missing too many trades. As a problem, I have to get back, find a solution. Automation. Okay, a couple of years back, it was about drawdowns. So having a bad, well, kind of a long drawdown. That was a regular drawdown, but mixed with me doing stupid stuff in the market. So a bigger drawdown than expected. And I had to find a way to make it work. I had to kind of print all my trades, evaluate everything, and start from scratch again. So start from this is what happened, this is what I did, I shouldn't do this, like printing all my trades, going through all the trades one by one, and I found a solution. Okay, so you need to be able to kind of have this quick feedback of when something happens you don't like, go back, evaluate what happens, what is the solution to this, and then implement it. That should be done like less than a month. Okay, if you wait like 2, 3 months, 4 months before you work on some things that you need to work on, it's a waste of time, and you won't be as optimal as someone like going back every month or even every 2 weeks to get back on track. Okay, so the faster you get back on track, the better it gets, and the easier it's gonna be for you. Okay, so that's the fourth lesson, right? Any question on this, guys? Comment below, and yeah, it should be working fine. Alejandro, what's up? Awesome, cool. A lot of people join right now, which is cool. 23, cool. Good question, Colin. What am I doing awake at 3 a.m.? That's a good question. I think watching these videos is a good way to yeah, make it worthwhile. Cool. If you guys want to give a like on that review, if you like it, or if you don't like it, let me know what you would like to see more of, and that way I can adapt and stuff. But if you like it, give it a like, and that would be really appreciated, of course. Exactly. Cool. So fifth lesson, and this is the one that I've probably used the most, apart from tracking and journaling. The other thing I've used the most, and I didn't find out that this would be useful, is the relationship, the support system, the people around you helping you to move forward and to trade better. Okay, so your support system, I found out, is huge. If you have no support system now, and by that I mean usually other traders, ideally, you're a big step ahead of most people, of most traders that trade successfully. Okay, so I found out when you have a support system of traders you know, of relationships, and you have a problem, you can just reach out to them, ask them the question, what's going on? What have you done with this before? And in a click, in a call, in a couple of minutes on the phone, you will know what to improve, what to work on, and what to make better. It's crazy, guys, the amount of ideas on trading strategies I've had from different people, different traders I talked to, or the amount of solving problems I've had, and the amount of capital I've had, of capital I had by talking with other traders and meeting them in person, right? That's huge. So if you have no support system now, think about what you can do to make it work. And for most people that have like, because a lot of people say, I have no support system, no meetup of traders in my area, in my city, right? If that's your case, you better be you better be thinking of like creating one now, creating a meetup. And even though you're not a good, like a really, really good trader and whatever, a full-time trader, it doesn't matter. As long as you create something and you find out, like you start something, people will relate to you and they will like it. And you probably meet more traders that way anyway. Okay, so you better start something. If you don't, if you have a group in your city that works, that you like, just go with them. It's fine. And then if you have no group, start one, and you better be the one in charge. Because the other, and that's gonna be like a sixth lesson, right? You have to take things in charge if you want to be, if you really want to be successful. If not, you're just gonna stay behind, and it's not gonna be as good as it could really be. Just take charge of stuff, and then that's how things move forward. And that's how things get solved. Okay. So fifth lesson, that's like a bonus one. But yeah, so to recap, guys, and this is gonna be, I think there's some text in the description of the video if you want to see it, and all the bullet points. But don't be in a place of need. That's the first one. Tracking is better than strategy. Second one. Third one is about the training is not the solution. It's part of the bigger picture, part of your bigger goal. Fourth is about, it's not about what happens, but how fast you get back on track. And this fifth one is about your support system is huge, okay, very powerful. Hope that makes sense. We've done that quick. It's amazing. But I want to get to your question, guys. It's pretty awesome. And let me know if you have any question. So Let's see this. So Joe asked, "What do you think of Canadian wheat stock?" I don't really trade stocks anyway, so it'd be hard for me to tell. I haven't looked at that much. Joe, sorry about that. Tahir says, out of topic. Okay, no problem. Do you know traders who consistently make more than 15% a month? No, honestly, no. Unless you are like a penny stock trader, which could work. But even then, getting that bar of like 15% a month, no, that's really tough. You should watch a video on my channel, and maybe someone can put the link in the chat, or yeah, in the chat. There's a video on my channel called "What Returns Trader Make on Their Money," and 10% per month is like the top, right? It's what people make at the top level. More, of course, but continuously every month, really, really hard, in my opinion. Okay, and that's just by respecting the risk parameters, and you could do it for some time, but the risks are too high to sustain this in the long term, in my opinion. It's just not worth it. Better to double your capital than to double your risk, in my opinion, right? And you'll make the same money in the end. So yeah, that is it. Copenhagen, the day in 824. It's awesome. Cool. What's up, Tony? Any question you guys have? You have one to that? Okay. Also set goals. Yeah. Really good point from G4 over 80. So he says, also set goals that can be achieved. I look at them as steps. Exactly. Those are always steps. Don't set goals that are hard to achieve and take too much time to get there. Yeah, so it's good to have like I call this a vision when it's like long term and really, really far. But you don't want to have like only visions, because then it's only like, oh, in 15 years I'll be like living in a big house on the beach. Well, okay, but it's like 15 years from now. So what do you do in the meantime? What is your goal? Like, what do you work on? That's really hard to know, right? So you want to break it down as much as you can, so that you should know, like, today I do this, and that's my goal for today. Okay, and then if only I achieve this today, no matter how much time I have, it could be like 1 hour, like we talked about before. You have only 1 hour per day to work on that thing, which could be true or not. Well, do it in 1 hour, okay, and make it happen. Set some goals that are achievable in like 1 hour, and maybe over time you stretch a little bit. So like what you do in 1 hour now, you might do in like 30 minutes in a year from now, but that's how you progress, and that's really important too. So really good point. I appreciate it. Yeah. Tahir says, I've been making 10% for the past 2 months, so I'm trying to see if I'm just lucky. Well, it doesn't mean you're lucky. That could be totally possible, right? That could be totally fun. But just don't expect that the return will be always the same every month. That's a big flaw too. Like, I know some traders and they probably went broke. Like, they're not there anymore for sure. But some traders were seeing the return they make on the past month, and say they make 10%, and that might equate to like $10,000 in their account. And then they say, well, okay, so I can live with $10,000 per month because I made that income before, and that's my kind of salary from trading. And then next month comes in, and they make $2,000 for that month. Okay, so like 2% on their account, and then they wonder what happens. Well, you didn't plan that the income would change. Like in business, like you can have a regular business like a shop. A month you make $20,000. Next month you make $10,000, whatever. Okay, and that is the reality of life. Now, of course, you want to, like, part of your goal as a trader should be to smooth out the things, right? The thing the return curve, to make it more smooth. But it's never going to be always the same. That's for sure. It's always going to vary a little bit. Okay, but that could be your goal, to smooth it out a little bit more by adding strategies, by like kind of minimizing the drawdown on what you trade now, and making it better. Okay, so that's really important too. Yeah. So really, really good point. And I was speaking with a guy recently that told me you guys are really like kind of smart and asking the good questions. So that's awesome. Keep going in that route. Love this. So day traders can make even more. Yeah. Well, yeah. Kim Krampus, yeah. Huh. So here's the thing about this. You cannot look at the trader and say, well, because you make like 3% this week, so you make 3% all weeks, and that's more than 15% a month. So they can make more, yes, but I'm pretty sure Kim Krampus, and I have no idea what the stats exactly are. So I'm just saying this out of like out of I don't know thought opinion maybe. But the point is that it's not because you make 4% a week that you make this every week and that you make this in a month. And even if you make it 20% a month, it doesn't mean that all months will be the same. Alright? So the thing about a lot of traders is that, and that could be the same thing for me. You could say the same thing about myself because I don't show like everything every time. But the thing is that you can look at a trader's return and think that like, he has a really good month, but then equate this over 10 years of data, and that won't be the same return. That will be probably less than the 15% a month you see, right? So keep that in mind. It's not like the overall picture all the time. So you might have a good month, but then the other bad month after, you might not even see it because it's on Twitter or whatever. And yeah, uh, yeah. That's interesting, Joe. I didn't know about that. About Kim. She said she wouldn't trade. Huh. If she were to start again, she wouldn't trade. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure where that comes from. But that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really hard to maintain. So that's about it. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Joe says, is it possible to trade with a goal of 100 or X amount of pip per week, no matter what, losing, no matter what, no matter what, no losing weeks? Well, if you have a goal of pips, well, for me, I don't have any goals of pips. Right? That's really hard to have. Because what happens if you have a? It's a tricky thing. Because like, if you have a winning week of like, so you have a winning trade of like 50 pip, which is 1%, and then you lose like 200 pip, but it's still 1%, right? So in the end, you lose like zero, but it's like negative pip. So quite a mess to calculate. That's why I look at percentages instead of pips. So yeah, that's what. Yeah. Uh, oh, so Joseph is from my podcast. Interesting. I cannot remember that. Yeah, it's interesting. Joe, let me know if it's the first episode with Kim or the second one. There's an episode I think it's I don't know what number, and the second one is episode 100 with Kim. So I'm not exactly sure which one it is, but exactly, yeah. So that sounds good, guys. We've been what 30 minutes in. Nice. Mohammed says, I am struggling to stick with trading discipline due to which I'm losing in Forex. Well, discipline is a cool topic, and you should look at the videos I've done with Mandy. She's really good at talking of discipline. But in overall, like a snapshot, overall picture, discipline is only a symptom, right? It's only a end result. So you cannot say, I want to be more disciplined. It's like, yeah, you can say that, but you cannot do it. So you have to look at what's the reason why you're not disciplined. Okay, what is the cause, the root cause of that? And usually that's gonna be like too high expectations. So maybe you want to leave your job faster. So every time you're seeing a trade, you want to take it to be able to leave your job faster. Or that could be something like, well, that's like the main one, right? Or that could be something like you don't have the right things in place. So if you come back from work and you go to trading, for me at least, I would not be super good, right? Because I would be straight coming from work to trading, hitting the work, going to trading, not good. So you might want to take a break, take a walk, or maybe it's just gonna be like leaving your computer when you trade. So when I place a trade, I might still work on my computer, but I don't look at it. It's like I open my platform, take a trade, close the platform, and that's it. It's over, right? Or it's gonna be like running on a VPS somewhere, which I don't look at. So if you do that, if you do this, you cannot really interfere with your trades. And yeah, sometimes I feel like, oh, I should, and even like so, 2 years ago I would feel like, oh, I should go back, look at my trade, what happens, just out of curiosity. Okay, I've done this for some time now. I don't do it anymore. It never happens that I look back at my trade just to see what the result is or just to see what happens. I have these times on my calendar when I look at my trades, and I only look at the chart these times. Otherwise, I don't look at it, and that makes it much easier to not take bad trades and not modify your trades because you don't look at them. It's a rule you have for yourself, and you respect the rule, of course, right? So that's how I manage it. But it really depends what is the cause of that. Okay. So yeah. That's a good question. Wait, I kind of lost track of the question, so let me go back. Colin says even making 1% per trade, achieving that uh, a day will be 20% a month. Yeah, it's difficult to achieve always. Yeah, it's pretty hard to achieve that every day. He cannot set a goal of like every day I do this. It's whatever if the market like doesn't do this. Like you cannot just set in stone what you want to make in the market. That won't work. That's not a cool goal. So I don't recommend that. Um, yeah, if you are a swing trader, don't look at pips as profit. Yes, percentage is the way to go. It's what I believe in, of course. How long does it take to learn Forex? Learn to trade Forex. Wait, how long does it take to learn Forex? So it depends on what you define as learn. Is learn trading profitably, or is learning how to place a trade? Learning is not long. It doesn't take much time. What's long is the testing, the tweaking, the going back to your plan, the adapting. That's the long part. Learning is not long. You learn in like what, 2 hours? Pick a book, read the book, and you will learn. But the hard part is like doing it and adapting and testing stuff. Yeah. Yeah, the why is like really big. So that's why it comes back to lesson number what, 2 or 3 I had? Yeah, lesson number 3 of steering is part of the bigger solution. That's something I learned, which is it's a part of the bigger picture, part of your bigger goal. Yeah, exactly. How long does it take to be consistent in Forex? Well, it took me 3 years, a little bit more. No, a little bit, yeah, 3 years pretty much. Could take less, could take more. If I had not wasted time, maybe a year and a half, I would have been to do it. I would have been able to do it in a year and a half. But that's if you do like everything right from the start, and maybe you have a coach or mentor at the same time. If not, it's longer. That's for sure. Yeah, it's crazy. And Joe says there are people that will listen to your podcast and learn so much 100 years from now, hundreds of years from now. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. That's why I love it. And that's why every podcast I make, I'm kind of thrilled to publish it because I know people will learn from it, and that's going to be just a contribution to the overall trading world. I feel that's kind of my passion. Yeah. Uh, Mohammed says I have a system but never obey the rules. Not even a single trade. Okay. What is wrong? Well, what is wrong is your why. Like, so Mandy said something once that I kind of really like. She said, "Make freedom." Uh, I can't remember what she said. It's something about making freedom a not like a something you do all the time. So yeah, don't make freedom a value, but make it a goal, right? So freedom, so like everyone wants to have freedom, right? And that's why they trade, and that's why they make mistake trading, because they see this as like a value, right? Something at the end. But don't make it a value, make it a goal, something you want to achieve. And every time you respect your plan, you're moving toward your goal of freedom. If you don't respect your plan, you're moving further from your goal, like behind, you're going back. And that's a problem, right? So people think that by taking more trades, or maybe it's trying to escape the bad trades, they can get faster to get they can get faster to their goals. But mistakenly, that's not what happens. what happens is that when you take the right trades based on your plan, you move toward your goal, right? So closer to your goal. And that's what you have to keep in mind. For me, like before that, I used to take a lot of bad trades. I used to enter every trade I wanted to take. I used to have even no plan, right? And then I go to a plan, and my plan, I would still take trades against it. Because I would feel like, oh, this is a good trade. I could move really fast in this pair. Or it's been moving really fast the past couple of days or the past couple of hours. And then I realize whenever I take a trade outside of my plan, I'm moving further away from freedom, further away from my goal. And that's not good. I don't want to have that. Okay, so only that for me was changing everything. But then the other part is if you're not disciplined from the start, right? You have to take small steps. Like instead of saying, "Oh, I want to be disciplined all the time, taking only the good trades all the time," well, that's tough. So tell yourself instead, "I'm gonna be disciplined only for this part of my plan." Okay, so only for the entry part if you want, and then it doesn't matter. And you do this on a demo account if you want. It's gonna be easier. Okay, so I'm gonna be disciplined only on the entry part, the setup I look for, and then the entry exit stop loss. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Okay, and then you only do this, or you only do this on like I'll be disciplined only on the exit. So whatever trade I take, I'll respect the exit. Okay, and you just add one over time. When you're comfortable with the entry, being disciplined with the entry, add the stop loss or add the take profit. Okay, do this on a demo account, of course, but then you add parts of your time, and then at some point you have like everything included, which you would, which you were supposed to take, and then the results are pretty good, right? Then you have everything, so it's easy, and you don't think about it. It's just a habit. So that's how I would go about it for sure. Okay, does that make sense, Mohammed? Yeah. Exactly. John says there's so much hype on the internet about Forex and a lot of misconception. What can we do to stay away from the noise and be focused? Well, I see the same thing in business, okay, and what I do now with my podcast. There's like so many courses and like where you can learn, or even like whatever videos or business, okay. There's so many different courses online on what you can learn. So many sources. People say the same thing as trading. When I was learning trading, people say different things. So I struggle myself with like, and like the answer I'll tell you is easy. Is to take like one coach, one course, one mentor, and you do only that. You don't search online for other answers. That's gonna be the only thing you do. Okay, and even if you pick like one free website, pick like one free website and do only that, and don't do anything else. And then when you do this, you learn from one place, and you know you will get result. Okay, for me that was like not buying different courses on business, for example, but only taking one and only following that course. And I pick a course and mostly like an academy that and a mastermind group that includes everything, includes like all the stuff I have to learn, and I know we'll get result with this. So that's how I would go about things, right? Same thing in trading. So when you take a course or you hire a coach, which I did also a few years ago, I hire like a trading coach. Okay, so what do I do? Do I do online and search for things, or do I just ask my mentor and only follow what he tells me to do? And that was the answer for me. Follow only one person, one thing. Otherwise, it's too hard. And especially with trading and just in life, people have different ways of doing things, different techniques, methods, different thought, opinions. That if you follow everyone and follow even like even if it's just like two three people, they have different ways of doing things. It's gonna contradict everything you know. It's gonna be a hard thing to control and to go through. Okay, so pick one person, follow that thing until successful, and that will usually work pretty well. Um, yeah, staying focused exactly. Do you have a spiritual or meditative practice to think about trading in life? I do some meditation. That's pretty much all I do. But yeah, it's not that advanced. So basic stuff. Is it worth trading a $2,000 account to learn gradually, or just go with the demo account? Whatever you prefer. If you are willing to lose that some money in that $2,000 account, it's fine. So trade with that. But a demo account could work well, or a combination of both. So demo and live when you're good with demo. Yeah, baby pip is a good starting point, but it won't get you as far as trading, I think, full time. Okay, so yeah. Alejandro says both also for the account thing. That's awesome. Wonderful. Cool, guys. That is awesome. Cool. I think I've answered everything, but I'll finish it here because like I didn't want to do this too long. Already 12:30. I have a lot of work to do, a video to finish and stuff. And by the way, guys, there's gonna be plenty of live videos scheduled on the channel. So if you go on my channel page, right, you'll see the first box at the top. It's like live videos coming up, and put a reminder on each if you want to be reminded of like those when we go live if you want. And there's a couple of awesome one with Chris Capri, I think, one with Andrew Aziz on this Friday. That's gonna be awesome. So put the reminder on these, and let me know down below if you have any question in the comment box after the video is live. And I'll catch you back here pretty soon. And thank you, Colin. I appreciate it a lot. So I'll catch you guys back here tomorrow. Ciao.